All right, guys, we're live. This is the last game of the season. The very, I guess you would say, disappointing Browns season. We do have a lot to talk about, even though we're not going to have a winning season. We're not even going to be a 500 team this year, but we do have some things going on in Browns land. First things first. Dad, you're with me. Dad, what kind of thoughts? Do you have any thoughts going into this game? Are we trying to win this thing?
I'm not really sure if we're trying. I think we are trying to win it. Freddie wants to win it. He wants to go out on a high note. Um, it, the real drama starts tomorrow morning
Yep.
when everybody, all their speculation, everything. If Freddie survives tomorrow morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, without any comments or anything going on, he's gonna survive. If the Browns are going to make a move, I would hope that they would make a move first thing tomorrow morning, call him in, say it's not working out, we've made a decision, and give him maximum opportunity because other coaches are going to start to be let go. And if you're interested in somebody, you better get your stuff out there or make a decision that you're going to stay with him. If they stay with him, I could go with it either way. Because I think they were one or two or three plays away from having a really halfway decent season, and you can't blame that all on Freddie Kitchens.
Sure.
But I would highly recommend that he not be the play caller. He get an offensive coordinator, and then let Darcy do his magic by getting really strong talent on the offensive line and filling the gaps, and then going with our draft pick for next year. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to root for them. I hope they win. I hope everybody has a good game. They don't get hurt. And the one disappointing thing, or that's not really disappointing, reality of yesterday was to watch LSU destroy Oklahoma and knowing that this kid, Burrow, is going to be the number one pick. He threw 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
5 in the first half, and he ran for a bunch more. He was just, everything he did just dropped into place. If we have to face him for the next 10 years on Cincinnati with a revamped Cincinnati, it's going to be a challenge to play Cincinnati in the future.
Well, I think the thing about Burrows is, yeah, I mean, as we've known, I mean, you can't, one player doesn't do it all. And the Bengals have had a history of drafting first round quarterbacks have not worked out, going back to like David Craig and I mean Achilles Smith. I mean, you could go back and they just it doesn't matter how good you are in college. When you get to the pros, the Bengals do not have a good offensive line, as we've seen. They have a good running back in Joe Mixon. When AJ Green is healthy, they have a good wide receiver. Boyd's another good receiver there as well. I think that and they have a good tight end. I mean, the Bengals could get a significantly better next year. I do believe that.
Sure.
Are they one player away? Are they a rookie quarterback away? Again, they had a rookie head coach as well. Their head coach didn't do very well either this year. So Bengals are going to have the good thing is they got their draft pick. They had their bad season just like we did, and they're going to get their player. We got Myles Garrett, who's I think produced at about the level that we expected him to, and we'll see what happens to the Bengals. But going back to the Freddie thing, have you heard the rumors that I don't know where these are linked to. I don't have a source for this at all. Just looking at what's being talked about on Reddit, and it looks like one of the names that's being floated around there is Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's how I feel about it. I don't personally think that the head coach position in the NFL is a tactical position. What I mean by that is, as we've seen with Freddie this year, if you try to do too much and you try to own pieces of the game, the tactical pieces of the game, you're going to have a problem. But where Freddie failed, he failed at the strategy level, he failed at managing the team level, and he failed at the tactical because he put too much on his plate. I think we need a CEO. I think we need a Belichick. And if a guy like Urban Meyer, who can command the attention of the men in the room, That's what I'm looking for. And before anybody says, well, this he can't do it or he can't do it. Look at remember when Dick Vermeil came in, and he was a college coach that went to the pros for the Eagles, was successful. Then he took a ton of time off, and he comes and gets rehired by the St. Louis Rams and ends up taking them and winning a Super Bowl, having Mike Martz the offensive coordinator. As long as you're a coach that can hire good coordinators and then allow them and delegate to them the responsibilities of the job, you can then focus on running the team.
Sure.
So that's why if it's Urban Meyer, fine. You're not going to find, other than maybe Nick Saban out there, you're not going to find a more successful guy in college football that you can promote up through the ranks. He's an Ohio guy, right? He might have been a Browns fan. I don't know. But
Josh McDaniel, you don't think he's into contention? You think he's waiting for Belichick to retire?
I don't know. Are you? By the way, are you clicking something? Because it's picking up all the clicks. I don't know if Josh McDaniels is interested in leaving New England. I don't understand why, if he didn't take that Indianapolis job, I think that if the Browns offer him the position, if that happens, fine. But you got to put some sort of clause in there, like you owe us money if you don't end up showing up.
Right.
So some major clause, be like the Josh McDaniels clause, like you owe us $5 million if you don't show up or something like that, to guarantee him.
Greg Smith on chat says I don't think Meyer's health will allow him to coach again. And then
I think all of those health things with Urban Meyer were all made up.
Okay.
He wasn't. I mean, maybe he had a heart issue, maybe he had some health issues, but he goes from a Florida Gators team that got shattered when Tebow left, right? And they had a whole bunch of looming NCAA violations that were happening. Then he takes some time off because of health reasons. Then he goes to Ohio State, does the same sort of thing, brings in the players, does whatever he does for recruiting, gets them to win the national championship, gets them to win consistently. And then all of a sudden, when the NCAA comes down on him because of whatever's happening with his coaches or recruiting, whatever, then the health issues come up again, right? So I think it's a very convenient way for Urban Meyer to slip out the back door without anybody questioning. You go, well, it's family. He wants to spend time with his family, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Part of me says, all right, maybe there's some truth to the health, but I got to tell you, for a guy like Urban Meyer, who's not an old man by any means, no. What is he, in his 50s?
He was at the game, one of the Ohio State game, on the sidelines, cheering him on.
Yeah, so Urban Meyer's a young guy, a young enough guy. I think he's got access to, he's wealthy beyond imagine, with millions of dollars. He can afford the highest level of health care. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe that coaching is a health risk at this point. And it's not like he's obese or anything. He looks like he's in great shape.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It's probably not the issue. The first issue is Dorsey over Kitchens, and I don't think that the owner cares one way or the other. He's leaving it up to Dorsey for the most part. It's a question of how much loyalty. And he picked him, so he's got his neck, stretch out there a little bit.
Yep.
But then again, the players are not a dime a dozen, but they're, what have you done for me lately? And if you don't perform, Dorsey's going to trade you, and he's going to cut you, and he's going to get a draft pick for you. He's going to try to upgrade, right. And doesn't, he moves some people with some star quality to them, and so Dorsey's not afraid to pull the trigger. So it's going to be interesting. If he doesn't do anything and he leaves him as offensive coordinator, to me, Kitchens, I thought, had the ideal opportunity for this game. It doesn't mean anything. I can win it or lose it. I can let the offensive coordinator, if I have faith in him, call the plays. And if it works out, great, we build on that. If it doesn't work out and he calls a lousy game, then I'm justified. But it doesn't matter if we lose the game. It's only going to be a 12th round pick or a 13th. In the round.
I heard that we have the potential, if everything goes our way, to get all the way to the 8th overall pick.
Oh God!
So I mean, winning this game, here's how I look at it. Freddie wants to go out a winner because every win that you get helps you from a resume standpoint, both with the current Browns if he wants to be retained, along with if he ends up going somewhere else to say, hey, I won 7 games. My first year as a rookie head coach, we had the Myles Garrett situation. We had a whole bunch of stars in there. I think I can do better and maybe work his way back up to a head coaching spot. So he wants to win the game. I think the players also want to win the game. There is a difference between a 7-9 and 6-10 on paper. It's a difference. It makes you feel different. 7-9 means, man, a couple things could have gone our way. We could be 10-6,
well,
just like that tweet.
Tweet I sent you said if we flip one score for them and one score for us, meaning make it a 14-point swing, 7 down for them, 7 up for us, we're 9-7.
We're
9-7 if you just do that.
Yeah. So we're very close, and I think that we have to look at it like this. We have to look at what school of thought are we in. If you look at Belichick, even the Belichick years when he was on the Browns, when he was building that up, he had some rough years with the Browns starting off, and everybody's calling for his head. If you look at guys like Chuck Noll and Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson, the 1-15 first-year coaches. It took them a little while to get the talent to get going. I think the difference is Freddie had the expectations, right? He had the expectations this year to take us to the playoffs and get 9 to 10 wins, and he failed to meet the expectations. It's just like when you're a corporate employee, and the beginning of the year you set out your goals and say, if I want to get my bonus or whatever, I got to hit these goals, right? And those are the expectations for the year for you to be able to be successful or not. And I don't think that he can say that he had a successful year.
No, I think that one of the most critical things I can think of beyond the play calling, of which some games he did really well. He looks like a genius when a play works, looks like an idiot when they don't execute or whatever. And you jump off sides, you put your quarterback in a 1st and 15 situation, your play calling changes automatically. Yeah. And your offensive line isn't that good, so you got to have a strategy. That aside, which I don't think was done the best way.
Yeah.
He didn't coach that was evident in the games that I watched the other night, where the coaches are going back and forth with different strategies. Speed it up, do this, do that, change at halftime. When was the last time you saw, maybe in 1 or 2 games, a dramatic change in the scheme or the way he approached the game in the second half, learning from all of the mistakes
a lot
that
of
they made in the
second
first half?
A lot of second halves, the other team had made the adjustment and ended up beating us. Right. So I think you're right there. I think, and I don't know how much of that comes down to first-year head coach or how much of it is bit off more than he could chew or whatnot. There's no way he's given up play calling. He's stuck on that all year. There's no reason for him to give it up to Todd Monken now. Let's blow out the Bengals 50-10 and then go, oh, God, we could have had that all year. There's no way that's happening.
It's going to be bad weather there, too. Rain, wind.
Yeah.
It's going to be keep the ball on the ground, don't fumble it, throw only when you have to.
Yeah.
Maybe the passing showers so that they'll be intermittent, but it's not going to be clear and 51 degrees there.
Well, that would lead us to believe that we should probably keep the ball on the ground then, which is something that Freddie has had trouble all year accepting the fact that we are a great running team.
Right.
And some of the play calling that you could look at. Now, you can cherry pick stats all day long and go, well, this or that, and this is why we were throwing. But at the end of the day, you got to look at it from the situational, where we are situationally in the game, and look at the times that Freddie decided to pass. Like, he wanted to get the ball to Odell and Jarvis and put Baker in a position to throw for 400 yards. And unfortunately, with this offensive line and the play calling schemes that were put together, I don't believe that they are what works in the NFL right now. What works in the NFL is variation of the West Coast offense, dumping the ball off, using the pass to set up the run, play action, and we don't do it enough.
We're not there yet. So if those two things can be corrected, and obviously being a head coach and learning to coach everything during the middle of the week, all the controversies, all the health problems, all the new players,
Yep.
the strategy for the game, both offensively and defense. That's a lot of work to put on one guy's shoulders, and then make him be the offensive coordinator during the game as well. So the question is, does he learn from his mistakes? And people who don't learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them, and that's why they fail.
Yeah. Oh, well, moving on. So we talked about Freddie. We talked about the draft position. We're looking at position. I have spelled wrong here on the thing. Let me change this. But I think that we have the potential to get up to 8. And I think that, and a lot of that, the conversation I was having on Twitter earlier is what we do with that pick. I am firmly in the camp that we have to go offensive line. We have to get an anchor offensive left tackle.
Right.
Yet there are people that are saying that this is a very deep offensive line draft, which is great. That's great for us.
Yeah, you were ticking them off the other day, one after another after another. I was hoping to watch the USC game, to watch the kid who was being touted from USC, and see what kind of game he had. But you're right. That's a draft. That's a development. You can also get a free agent and pay him some money and get him in there. So you're right. That's the biggest hole. And then I think, getting some linebacker and some secondary help on the defensive side, and getting Miles back with some other pressure from other parts of the defensive line.
Well, the question is there from a linebacker perspective. We're going to have to decide what we're going to do with Joe Schobert. Are we going to let him walk, or are we going to pay him? And I don't think you can pay Joe Schobert like a top 5 linebacker in the league. Because you won't. We have to look at, and I'm sure they've done all the calculations from the salary cap perspective. I know we have money to spend, but we have big dollars that are going to have to come up pretty soon with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Baker, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, the real key to this team. And people are sitting there speculating that, hey, who else is going to get paid? Is it Joe Schobert? Is it David Njoku? I think at this point, Njoku's probably on the outside of getting paid, outside of the circle. He's not in the core anymore because of the injury and the fact that he didn't come back strong from the injury. I think Joe Schobert played up to Joe Schobert's potential this year. He's not a giant guy. He's not a fast guy. He's got pretty good hands for a linebacker. Right? So, but I think he played up to his athletic ability, Joe Schobert did. Is he elite? He's definitely not a Ray Lewis type guy. He's not going to take over the game, but he's a decent player. And I think if you take what we did with Mack Wilson this year, build upon that, bring Kirksey back, bring Christian Kirksey back into the middle, and then you've got Wilson on one side and Joe Schobert on the other, and you have a little bit of rotational players with Taki there, I think we're in okay shape. But one of the things that I saw on Reddit, we lead the NFL currently in players drafted that are still in the league that don't play for our team. We lead the NFL in that.
Yeah, it tells you something too.
So there's obviously, just like we've talked about numerous times about the Austin Corbett thing, right? The fact that we had a second-round offensive guard and we never gave him even a chance, dumped him for a song, and he's playing for another team and playing well and started right away. So we just gave up on that dude. Now, the same question I'm going to have is going to be raised that why our beat reporters aren't beating them with this question every week. Jannard Avery, Rashard Higgins, Austin Corbett, why were they not featured this year? What was the problem with these 3 guys? Because healthy scratch today, or I don't know if it's healthy scratch, it seems like it's a healthy scratch. Rashard Higgins is not playing today. He's out.
I'm not surprised. And Njoku's not playing either?
Njoku, I didn't see him being scratched. I did not.
There's clearly a problem between him and Higgins. And he's saying in the tweets the other day that if Kitchens not him and Higgins, him and Kitchens, if Kitchens comes back, Njoku's gone.
Njoku's gone. Who said that?
Yeah, him himself, Njoku. He was leading with tweets of saying, it's tough to sit on the bench. It's tough to not play. and we've never been given an adequate answer.
Well, with Njoku,
Why isn't he not prepared? Can he not block?
Higgins or Njoku? Who are we talking about?
Njoku.
The tight end Njoku.
Higgins is a history, I think.
Okay. So Higgins is out. We agree on that. With Njoku, the problem has been he broke his hand or his wrist. He had a broken bone.
Right.
That it took him a while to come back from, and then when he came back from that, he wasn't performing. He had that one interception fumble thing that happened the game he came back.
Right.
And then the rumors were, and the reports coming out of their practice was, he dropped 8 passes in practice against either the air or our defense. Either way.
So you don't think he's being truthful about his hand being okay, and that it really does hurt him to catch balls?
If it does or doesn't, I think the execution is what we're going with. Also, Pharaoh Brown is scratched today. So Pharaoh Brown's not playing. So really, it's going to be Harris, Carlson, and Njoku, and we'll see what he does. I think this is a big game for Njoku to prove to himself and to fans and to the team that he's back to the guy we drafted him to be. Right. So Njoku, I think he's got a chance. I don't think he's going to get paid like a top tight end. You look at tight ends that are out there that are killing it, like 3rd round draft Mark Andrews, who played with Baker in college. That guy's killing it, right? Mm-hmm. So that guy needs to get paid. David Njoku is riding off of that 1st round draft money, and he has never put up 1st round draft numbers.
He's made some spectacular catches from time to time, and that's what's got him the notoriety. I really have no sense as to whether he can block. He's a good blocker. So that tight end position needs to be filled with a quality person that Baker can throw the ball to, and that protects him when he needs to keep him. And
I would actually argue that it's more important to have a blocking tight end, a traditional block, almost if you're going to look at a tight end and lean more towards wide receiver or lean more towards offensive lineman, I'd rather have the offensive lineman tight end than the wide receiver. We have wide receivers. We've got Odell, we've got Jarvis, we've got Hunt out of the back. We got guys who can catch the ball.
Yeah, and plus you can put him on the left side more often than not. That if you have a weak left tackle or a rookie, you give him some help. Half the time. The other half the time you put him on the other side.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Ohio State game and I was interested. Who's the defensive guy, number 2? Young? Is it Young?
Yeah, Chase Young.
Chase Young. He's predicted to be, the 2nd pick in the draft?
Probably.
He reminds me totally, in watching him, I must have watched him 10 plays.
Yeah.
Of Myles Garrett, a guy who is unbelievably strong. He runs 100% to the quarterback every time. He doesn't protect the edge. He got burned several times where he took an inside route. He got close to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Either the runner went to the outside or they flipped it over his head and to a screen pass, and the guy was wide open and went down the field. So he's very, I hate to say one-dimensional, but you got 2 responsibilities: rush the passer and protect your end. You do those 2 things, you're in good shape. But he doesn't dominate a game like you talked about Donald.
Aaron Donald,
for the Rams. But he got close he was just like a bull rush, and he got close several times. So he was definitely influencing the play, just like Myles does. Myles influences it just because he gets close and forces the quarterback to do this or that. So it'll be interesting. I assume he'll still go number 2, but he's not he's not as great a impact player totally on the game as like a Lawrence Taylor or somebody else who you really have to fear every play.
Yeah, well, I think that going into the off season, hopefully if the change is made at coach or if Freddie is retained, it's immediate. And and just like the Cowboys came out and they put all rumors to rest, they're sticking with Jason Garrett. We have to make the decision. We can't let this thing play out for very long. Sorry about that. We have to make the decision immediately and then move on and start looking for whoever the successor is going to be. Right. And hopefully that it's somebody who's got coaching experience, can lead the team, immediately gain the respect of the players, right, and put in and delegate well and be the CEO. I don't know if Josh McDaniels is a guy that has those qualities. I think Josh McDaniels is an ego-driven guy, and I think that although he's a great and one of the best offensive coordinators in this generation, looking what he did in Denver, is he ready, or does he have the ability to lead the team and be the CEO? I don't know. Maybe he has matured since then, but I think no matter what, it'll be an upgrade over Freddie. But I don't have a tremendous amount of faith. I would rather have a guy, honestly, I'd rather have an Urban Meyer and somebody who can just lead the team and lead them in.
So what's your prediction for tomorrow?
I think the prediction for tomorrow is Freddie is gone. I think he's let go. And then the decision will be, or what will happen, because there's rumors out. Mike Lombardi is saying that there's going to be multiple changes. Who knows what that means? I don't think they're going to let Dorsey go. Dorsey's proven himself to be a GM. He's been the most stable and consistent thing that the Browns have had since they've been back, and I think you keep him in there. He's had too many hits, and the striking out this year with Freddie, he gave the guy a chance. He thought he had earned it. I think everybody likes Freddie as a human, but the question will be whether Dorsey wants to hitch his wagon to Freddie Kitchens and say, that's my guy, and I'm going down. If you're going to get rid of him, you're getting rid of me, or I'm leaving too. Right. I don't think Dorsey's crazy enough to do that, but it could cause some friction between ownership and I don't know if we're talking about D. Haslam or Jimmy Haslam, whoever's got the decision-making ability, but when you go in and you do this much to improve your team talent-wise, and then you have this big of a failure to meet those expectations, that's a big problem. So I think Freddie's gone, and the head coaching, hopefully Dorsey has known this is coming for a while and has a list of candidates that he wants to go after that are proven commodities, not people that want to learn on the job. Ron Rivera's out there, McCarthy's out there, Josh McDaniels, Urban Meyer, maybe go after a guy like Lincoln Riley, who just got blown out yesterday by LSU. Maybe he's ready to make the jump to the NFL. Just give me somebody better than Freddie. And I think the whole fan base will rejoice after that, because you look at look at Chudzinski, look at Pat Shurmur, look at Mangini, look at Romeo Crennel, look at Hugh Jackson, look at all of our coaches that have come in the last decade. None of them have gone on to be successful somewhere else, like Belichick after he was fired by the Ravens, not by the Browns. So we haven't made the right decision. I think that's the biggest failure this year, and hopefully Freddie is gone, and we'll be able to do that.
I give it 60-40. 60 he stays, 40 he goes. Would I be upset if he goes? No, because my expectations will change dramatically with the new coach.
Yeah.
There'll be so much to look forward to with a new coach, new staff, new direction, new strategy, new players.
New energy, new positive energy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So take advantage of Odell, Baker's qualities, whatever. You get somebody who's on the same page.
Yeah.
So even though I'm saying it's only 40%, if it happens, I won't shed a tear. I'll be unhappy for Freddie. He didn't make it.
He'll still get his money though. He'll still get paid.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll hook up with somebody else. But our position next year, when we start talking about not only the draft and the preseason, but it just, our expectations go right back up to where they were. We're going to go into the playoffs. We're going to go deep into the playoffs. And but if we go into next season hoping that Freddie wins his first game so he doesn't get fired, hoping he wins his second game so he doesn't.
We can't do that.
Look how much time we would have lost. We would have lost all the preseason.
Imagine if we would have had Greg Williams for the first year instead of going through the Todd Haley, Hugh Jackson, just Greg Williams and Freddie Kitchens that year. We might have been even potentially playoffs.
They'd be trying to steal Freddie Kitchens, to another team, and we'd have to decide, do we want to pay him a lot more money to be an offensive coordinator when your head coach is doing a good job and he's got you into the playoff?
Yeah.
But For some reason, Dorsey didn't want to do that, and
Well,
I never heard a good explanation for that. Um, so I'm really curious as to what Dorsey's going to do starting tomorrow morning around 8 o'clock.
well, I think Steve Wilkes has got. Steve Wilkes comes out and he's like, "I think Freddie's the guy. I think we should keep him."
Right?
Of
I
course,
saw
because there's no way you're getting kept if they fire Freddie, you're gone too.
Sure,
Because
yeah,
whoever the
right.
new head coach is going to bring in his own guys.
Right,
Todd
right.
Monken's gone too. I don't know what the hell Todd Monken's done all year. If he's not calling plays, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, he's the assistant to the general manager, type situation there. So I don't know. I mean, I think it'll make for an interesting offseason. We'll have the draft coming up in a couple months, where hopefully we'll be able to improve our draft there. Dorsey is about a guy who's going to make improvements. He is committed to making the Browns better. So I have faith in John Dorsey to execute and do that.
I do too. 100%.
That's it. Now he's given Baker the weapons. He's just got to now protect him. And the byproduct of that, of protecting your quarterback, is you also will probably have a better opportunity to run the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got guys like Kareem Hunt and
Chubb.
Chubb who might even do better.
Two best guys in the league that can spell each other back and forth or be in the game at the same time, that do different things. They catch the ball.
Yeah.
They do the screens. They're not afraid to play hard. I don't think, Chubb dropped a couple of passes. Kareem Hunt, I thought, played great in the limited time, and the fact that he came in the middle of the season, played. But they played hard. I mean, they never gave up,
Yep.
whether it was 2 yards, 5 yards, whatever. They had their big plays. They're exciting to watch. I just hope, like you said, they utilize them. They do the play action. It frees up the secondary because we don't have the fastest guys in the world out there. But we do have guys that can run patterns. And so you're right. He has the weapons. Hopefully Dorsey will add to it and we'll do better.
I will give you a prediction. I'm going to predict that we lose this game today.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cincinnati, although they don't have anything to play for, anything more than us, I think we're a deflated team. I think as Kareem Hunt pointed out, we didn't have players that were giving 100%. I think that there's too many locker room considerations going on right now with Freddie and what's going on with the coaches, players who had off years statistically. I think Nick Chubb's going to play hard. I think Kareem Hunt's going to play hard, but I think the rest of the players are going to. If they get down, I could see us losing the game today, and I'm going to predict for the first time all season that we lose a game, and it's going to be today.
Yeah, and a game we should clearly win
Easily.
Whether we're in the hunt or not, we should clearly win it. But and if we lose it, I think that's another nail in Freddie's coffin.
I think if we lose it, Freddie's gone. I mean, they won't even let him come back to Cleveland. They'll leave him in Cincinnati.
Well, we shall see. I think we got 7 minutes to game time, Mike.
Yep. Okay, guys, we got to go. We will see you here. Everybody, we'll see you here right after the show. We're going to do the homage T-shirt giveaway, all that kind of good stuff. We will be here right after the show, so it's probably going to be the game's 4:10ish, 4:20, whenever the last play is. We're going to go live right after that. So be back here. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Get yourself. We got the homage T-shirt giveaway coming up in the post game, and some other cool announcements. So thank you guys for watching. Go Browns.
Go Brownies.